These bakers in Ukraine make 700 pounds of Passover matzahs a day, even as Russian forces advance. When we filmed at the Tiferes Hamatzos bakery, the city of Dnipro wasn't invaded, but it was surrounded by war zones. For many here, making this sacred bread feels more important than ever.
Да еще плюс у нас через несколько дней будет святой праздник, праздник Песах.
This would have been illegal back when their country was part of the Soviet Union. At one point, Jews were jailed for making or even just eating matzah. But these days, the country supplies an estimated 20% of all handmade matzah to the US market.
And now we're back again, sending out the best matzah, the real matzah, throughout the whole world.
Still, more than half of Americans buy matzah that comes off an assembly line. The last family-owned matzah maker in America, called Streitz, can produce up to 1 million square-shaped sheets in a day. And it's been at it for nearly a century. Whether it's machine-made or handmade, many Jews have dedicated their lives to preserving what they call the bread of the poor. So how did this traditional food grow into a $110 million industry? Handmade matzah, called shmora, or guarded in Hebrew, is what the Ukrainian bakery Tiferes Hamatzos specializes in making.
You have to keep and you have to secure the matzah.
This is Rabbi Meir Stombler. He inherited the business from his father 12 years ago. Today, he supervises the work in accordance with Jewish law. The bakery grinds the wheat on site, and Rabbi Stombler regulates the amount of heat and moisture to keep the dough from rising.
This is custom made for us, making sure it doesn't get heated too much from the moment that the wheat is in the field. And if it has any contact with water, that is already a problem.
The unleavened bread is made of just 2 ingredients, flour and water. But making the dough is labor-intensive. Joseph says this helps him keep his mind off of what's happening outside.
Люди продолжают жить, опять продолжают выполнять наш святой долг, работают в мацапекарне.
It's all made by hand. It's going to take him about a minute until it's ready.
From there, it's a race against the clock because the dough has to make it to the oven in just 18 minutes so it doesn't rise.
When the Jews left Egypt, they didn't have time to bake their bread, so they had it very fast, and what they ate was matzah.
And everyone who touches the matzot until it's baked must be observant Jews. This metal rod helps workers knead the dough faster.
He's making sure that it's being well done, so this is a real piece of dough.
Then they roll it into long logs and flatten it out with rolling pins. When it makes it to the oven, it bakes fast.
Maximum 10 seconds, you'll see it's out of the oven, and this is a ready matzah to eat for the Seder night.
Production has been going strong despite the Russian invasion. This would be unthinkable in previous generations. The city's chief rabbi, Levi Yitzchak Schneerson, was arrested and exiled in 1939 for providing matzah for the region's Jews. But since the fall of the Soviet Union, Dnipro now has the most Jews per capita of any city in Ukraine. The massive 7-branched menorah center and surrounding neighborhood has become a hub for war relief efforts. Russia has targeted Ukrainian missiles on the outskirts of the city, and Dnipro's airport was recently attacked.
They don't have time to be afraid. We're busy with saving lives, evacuations, humanitarian aid, making sure they get whatever they need, the medicines and food, and really saving lives 24/7. There's no time to be afraid. There's no time to think about it.
Rabbi Stombler, a member of the Chabad Hasidic movement, takes pride in contributing to this renaissance with matzah made the old-fashioned way. The constant supervision and labor makes shmora matzah 3 to 6 times more expensive than machine-made. Even though the biggest shipments left Ukraine earlier this year, the bakery exports right up until the Passover holiday.
Это маца, которая отправляется в Америку. Очень вкусная, очень хорошая, очень тонкая. Всю мацу, которую мы делаем с любовью и отправляем в Америку.
Ukraine normally exports about 70 tons of matzah each year, but war is getting in the way. Rabbi Stombler said he had 2 containers full of matzah temporarily stuck at the ports in late February.
2 hours before the boat was supposed to leave, the war broke out. We released them, but it was too late to send them to the States. Some of them stayed over here, some of them we managed to ship to the UK.
This kind of handmade matzah nearly disappeared after World War II, when mass-produced ones became more affordable. It was the son of the same rabbi arrested in Dnipro who revived it in the 1950s. Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson was living in Brooklyn when he launched a campaign to distribute shmora matzah to Jewish families. And the number of people who eat shmora matzah continues to expand. America produced 1 million pounds of shmora matzah in 2017, and the market has grown 30% since then. But handmade matzah makes up just a third of all matzah sold in the United States. Mass-produced ones make up the bulk of the $110 million industry. Streitz is the last large family-owned matzah producer in the US. The company managed to stay afloat, but it had to relocate to this facility in Orangeburg, New York, in 2017, after running a factory in Manhattan for nearly a century.
The last day leaving the factory was a very sad day. We stayed probably longer than we should have, just out of nostalgia.
That's Aaron Gross, the great-great-grandson of the company's founder, Aaron Streit. Although the machines have been upgraded, he still uses the same recipe.
We're gonna say it's about 200 pounds of flour, 70 to 80 pounds of water, depending on humidity in the air.
My name is David Marvin. I work upstairs in the mixing room.
Just like at the Handmade Bakery, workers here have to beat the clock. The dough drops through a hopper to the floor below. Kosher laws require that the bowls be cleaned in between each batch.
Yeah, just water.
Just like in Ukraine, everyone who handles the dough from here is an observant Jew. During the run-up to Passover, there are 8 full-time rabbis at this facility, and some of the staff have worked here for decades.
Michael's worked here for 6 years. Oh no, 33 years.
Yeah, don't scare me.
Yeah.
Like you take care for baby, So I take care of this machine.
When something goes wrong, he springs into action.
And he drives me crazy because he's like, he'll feel it and be like, oh no, it needs a quarter pound more water. I'm like, Michael, quarter pound more water, and he's like, no, it definitely does.
This machine, called a Radler, adds a bunch of little holes.
Makes it so it's not like a lavash or a flatbread, then it cuts it in 6 rows. This belt here spreads it, and then it gets cut again and put into the oven. We're about 10 minutes into the process, and it's dropping into the oven right here. And it's gonna cook for about 1.5 minutes, 740 degrees.
The finished matzah comes out the other side. At the Rivington Street factory, workers used to load the matzah by hand onto conveyor belts as it came out of the oven. But here, robotic arms get the sheets into boxes and out the door, just in time for the Passover holiday. So why go through all this trouble for a cracker?
They say most family businesses, I think by the third generation usually screws it up. I'm 5th. So I think we hopefully got past that hump. It's a beautiful business. It's a very niche, unique business.
And is there room at the Seder table for both types of matzah?
We started as a hand bakery on Pitt Street, right? So and I think the more people that are observing Passover and are celebrating the holiday, we all grow together.